So have you guys ever heard of the term less is more, or maybe via negativa? If not, then stay tuned because I'm gonna explain what I mean. But basically the idea behind this video is that in this day and age, we are already aware of the fact through listening to folks, reading books, and people telling us that physical environment around us is important. So, being organized, keeping things in check, organizing things for yourself. So, everyone has their own preferences. Some people like a bit of chaos. Some people need to have everything super neat. But we are aware of the fact that our environment around us and how we set it up can either make or break us. So it can either help us kind of stick to the good habits, or can drive us into the bad habits, because obviously we have something like willpower, but willpower is not enough to make something sustainable. So we are aware of that, but for some reason no one's talking about the fact that in this day and age it's almost as important, if not even more, to do the same for your digital environment. So your desktop, your phone, when we spend almost half of our time, or even more, depends if you work on your computer, if your work is computer based, but for a lot of people it is. And if it is, then it's probably at least half of your day spent on a digital screen. Most of us are not intentional about how we use it. And in today's video, I'm gonna share with you guys my personal experience, my tips and tricks and useful tools that I use to declutter my desktop and keep me focused on the things that I want to do, keep me efficient and productive, and eliminate, maybe not in total, but kind of keep it to minimum, the amount of distractions and possible ways where I can, and possible places where I can go down the rabbit hole and lose time and get sidetracked, and instead set up me for success, which obviously doesn't always happen, but it's just one of the really good practices and things you should think about if you want to get more out of your time, get more out of your life, and basically accomplish more. So hey, this is Konrad, Yerba Addict here, and before we get into the details, the nitty-gritty and the specific tips I prepared for you, then I'm gonna have a sip of Yerba as usual, because Yerba is a good life. So the first thing I wanted to kind of go back to is via negativa. If you haven't heard of this term, I'm gonna put it up here. Via negativa basically means first subtracting rather than adding on top, and it's a very useful concept, I would say, because in my opinion, and not only in my opinion, but from listening to some experts in the field of like neuroscience and how our brain works, it seems like it's a lot easier for us to just first focus on removing some stuff than adding new things on top. So first, what I would, if I were you, the first thing I would do is look at yourself from a like third person mirror, or however you want to look, like third person view, and analyze like where are you losing most of your time, where you have tendency to kind of go sidetrack, where do you have tendency to go into down the rabbit hole of some information, or some information overload. Where are you losing focus? Where usually happens that you had something planned and instead you end up doing something else. So first, I would analyze this, look at yourself really like completely naked, and and be honest with yourself. What's going on? Is it YouTube? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Whatever it is, and think about both your phone and your desktop, even though in this video we're gonna focus on the desktop. So first, I would do that, and first try to eliminate the kind of the lowest hanging fruit. So if there's something that you use or visit and that really only hurts you and there's not many benefits when you think about it, try removing it or blocking it or whatever is possible, but just start with the simplest thing, which is just basically removing the harmful. And then when we go into the specific advice from me, then the number one thing I would advise you guys when it comes to the laptop, computer, desktop stuff is downloading a browser called Brave. It's like an independent minimalist browser. It's not necessary, but it's really useful because it has a lot of things built in, a lot of useful tools built into it. So you just have to spend less time setting it up. So it already has, for example, like tracker block, like cookie and tracker blocking functionality. It has like ad block. It has some other cool minimalist options where you can reduce the number of possible distractions that you have in the browser. So I would say this is good. And also one big tip is that when it comes to extensions for Brave, you can use the Google Chrome shop for extensions because it runs on the same engine. So I would do that. I would install the Brave browser. You can also install it on your phone. And then what I would do is hide the bookmarks tab and also play around with some settings. So as I said, you can disable, enable some things by default. And when it comes to specific extensions that I use and are really useful, and I highly recommend you guys, one is Facebook Purity. So Facebook Purity allows you to basically disable a lot of the, how do you say, like a lot of the crap functionality of Facebook that all it does is make you more anxious, makes you distracted, and makes you lose focus and time, which for me is Facebook feed, ads, and stories. So for me, these are like the three main things that kind of are useless for me when it comes to Facebook, and they don't really bring almost any value to my life. And then that helps me just focus on that stuff that's useful for me in Facebook. So that's Messenger to keep in touch with people, and that's also Facebook groups, because I'm part of some really cool groups, business groups, and other where people are actually sharing value. So that's, I highly recommend you guys to do that. There are some other functionalities of it. I don't know all of them, but check out FB Purity extension. Really, really useful. Another one is ad block and DF, distraction free YouTube. So those are two separate extensions. Ad block, that's self-explanatory. That's for blocking ads. And if you want to support some specific channel, watch their ads, then you can just disable it for that specific channel. It's not difficult. But in general, I would say disabling ads is like a game changer. I mean, for me, watching YouTube on the phone is a nightmare. I mean, you're getting ads every, few minutes. And then sometimes double ads now, and then it doesn't help at all with your attention span, which is already at the all-time low nowadays, for us humans. And then distraction-free YouTube, that's really amazing browser extension if you're using YouTube a lot. So that allows you to basically disable autoplay. It allows you to disable comments section, allows you to disable the news feed of YouTube, and also the recommended videos. So basically, in essence, it allows you to be intentional about like what you watch and be intentional about your YouTube usage. So like you watch a specific video and that's it, rather than what happens a lot of times is you go into YouTube, you don't have specific plan, and then you go down the rabbit hole because like YouTube recommends you some stuff, and then you just go down, okay, I watched this video, and then this, and then you watch like 6 videos, and then you read all the comments, and then you just get basically overloaded with crap, and you spent you wasted just a lot of your time for nothing, rather than using YouTube for what it is. It has some really great content, but it's not the way you set up yourself for watching great content is that you just subscribe to those channels, and then you either visit them, you see that okay, they have something new, or you just go into them and you select the video you want to watch, and then you don't binge watch, and then you don't waste time on useless stuff that just like is recommended to you by algorithm, because the algorithm hacks your brain. The third thing that I would recommend you guys is some kind of a tool. I use Bitwarden for saving your passwords and logins. That's insanely useful. That basically helped me, just keep track of all the different logins. Sometimes you have a couple for Google or something. And then you can also, you don't have to keep one password for everything. So you don't end up, when someone hacks you or something happens, you don't end up like really getting screwed. Instead, you can have different good passwords, and then you don't have to like just keep your mind occupied with different passwords. It's just all in that extension. And Bitwarden, it's not the only one. I think there's LastPass and a couple more, but Bitwarden is free. I really recommend this one. Another thing is that I've been using is Humble New Page extension. that's basically it's just simple. So as I said at the beginning, I recommend disabling the bookmarks tab because that keeps you distracted to click on something. But instead, when you add the humble new tab, that's when you make a new tab, that lets you customize it very well and keep it very minimalistic. And I recommend you guys to just, that's what I do at least, to have like 5 to 10 the most used bookmarks, and just keep it there, and you only see them when you want to open a new tab. Another one optional that I use now, I'm not using, is tab suspender. That basically what it does is when most of us have like 20 tabs open, that's what I noticed. It's not only me. And then because we have the tendency to just open something like, oh, I don't want to open it again later, so I'm just gonna keep it open and leave it there. But that doesn't help with not being distracted, especially when you have some notifications there and things like that. So what a tab suspender does is you can set up in the options, you can set up like after how many minutes it basically like suspends the tab, and then it doesn't close it. Basically what you have to do is then you have to go back to that tab and refresh it by either clicking on the tab or something, and then it just refreshes. So what I would do is, I don't use it now, but I think the key there is to just set up a really good time frame for when it suspends it. And then it really depends on your habits. Is it 2 minutes, 1 minute, 5, 10 minutes? When does it suspend it? The last tip that I have for you guys today is basically non-browser related, because all of those things were like browser related, but that's where we spend most of our time, right? But there is also last thing which I would do is decluttering your desktop, like your main page. The rest doesn't matter as much, but just your desktop where you see the screen when you log in, and that's sometimes when you kind of minimize. I would remove all the unnecessary icons, just keep a few that you use, keep a couple of folders that just help you be faster when it comes to accessing some files and folders. But the rest I would remove completely. That just makes everything much more minimalistic and much more focused, and lets you be less distracted. Because as probably you guys maybe heard of this, if you make less decisions, the more quality of decisions you make, and the opposite is true. The more decisions you make, the quality of decisions decrease. So by setting up things like that I outlined in this video, you're just basically setting up yourself to be less distracted, to rely less on your willpower, and to less make decisions. And then in turn, you will be more productive, more efficient. You will make more quality decisions. If you found this video helpful, just please like this video, and also comment. I would love to know if you have used any of those extensions, if you maybe have some extensions or ideas that I haven't outlined in this video, and then please share them. That's gonna be useful for other people as well. And then maybe I can review them and make another video on some additional things that I haven't thought about. So yeah, please comment. If you like this type of videos, subscribe to the channel. That's gonna support me in my endeavor of really bringing you the truth to the world and bringing really useful advice to you guys. And yeah, I will see you guys in an episode. Thank you so much, and see you.